You know, a film that looks like it's a mixture of Groundhog Day meets Scream could be awesome, but is it? Alright, let's review. So Happy Death Day is a new film directed by Christopher Landon, who brought us such classics as Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, and A Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. And in Happy Death Day, a college student named Tree, played by Jessica Rothe, wakes up on her birthday, goes about doing her college-type things with her sorority party, and that same evening gets killed by somebody wearing the baby face mask that is her school mascot. Then she wakes up and rinse and repeats the same day over again until she can find out who the killer is. And by far, the best thing about this movie is Jessica Rothe. There are some other enjoyable elements to be found in Happy Death Day, and I'll get to those later, but Jessica Rothe, man, she's insane! And insane in that very good kind of a way. She gave a phenomenal performance in here. Every other person around her, it was pretty obvious that they were kind of phoning it in because this is a PG-13 horror slasher film. But no, Jessica Rothe, she gave it her all. In a couple of scenes, she showed some really great emotion. She got down to tears. And her performance was so good in those scenes that it almost brought me to tears. It at least gave me that little knot in my throat. And throughout the entire runtime of this movie, her performance is so good in here that Jessica Rothe has your attention from minute 1 until the credits. I remember the last thing I saw her in was La La Land, where she was like roommate number 2 to Emma Stone. But nope, she's got more to give. She gives it 110% in this movie, and I cannot wait to see what Jessica Rothe does next. Now, as far as the rest of the movie goes, well, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a movie like this. Very cliched, very terrible dialogue, and just overall kind of bad in that very, very guilty pleasure kind of way. I know at the top of this review I said that this film looked like a mixture of Groundhog Day meets Scream, and granted, one of the characters in this film actually does mention that the situation Jessica Rothe is going through is like what happened to Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day. Unfortunately though, unlike Scream or Groundhog's Day, Happy Death Day is not groundbreaking in any way whatsoever. Let's take a look at Scream here, for example. There's that element of guessing who the villain is throughout the entirety of the movie, and by the end of the movie, you find out it was Billy, and so that makes you question reality, and you're like, well, are my classmates serial killers? Could regular people I interact with be psychopaths? But in this movie, the element of guessing who the killer is definitely in throughout the course of the movie, but by the end of the film, it doesn't really feel like it matters whatsoever. And besides Jessica Rothe, there is not one memorable character throughout the entirety of this film. In fact, a couple of them actually started to get on my nerves, and I was hoping that this babyface killer would go after them instead of Jessica Rothe. I will actually say that this film is pretty well directed. It's knowledgeably well directed, at least. The way the camera angles were positioned, the way the story progressed, I mean, it is a very decently directed film. And in fact, there were actually a couple of pretty good moments of tension, but along with tension, you got a couple of really, really useless jump scares. And I don't like jump scares. They're kind of like fart jokes when it comes to comedy. It's just the lowest form of entertainment and the most unintelligent piece of entertainment you can get to try to get a reaction out of the audience. And guys, that's really all I have to say about Happy Death Day. There really isn't all that much there, but Jessica Rothe gives a phenomenal performance. She has your attention from the get-go, and everything else just kind of falls flat, and it's just fine. However, I can't deny that this film does reach into guilty pleasure territory for me, and I had a complete blast watching it, so I feel I can push it. And I'll say that Happy Death Day is a casual watch. But don't mistake my words. Guilty pleasure does not mean good. Is this movie good? No. And as always, it is what you guys say that matters. So have you had a chance to see Happy Death Day? And what did you think of it? More importantly, what is your favorite guilty pleasure horror film? Whatever you may think, leave a comment down below telling me those thoughts. And if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.